Hello, everyone, and welcome to Xpress Lane, the official US Express podcast, where we talk about all things trucking. I'm Brenna Powers. I'm the communications specialist here at US Express, and today I am joined by two very special guests from the world of safety.
Hi, I'm Daniel Pemberton, Senior Vice President of Safety for US Express.
And I'm David Tomshack, the Senior Director of Safety.
So I am super excited about what we have on the agenda for today. We're going to be talking about our new partnership with Netradyne. But before we get into that, I want us to get to know Daniel and David just a little bit, hear about their background. So talk to me, guys, like, how did you guys get started in the trucking industry? How long have you guys worked together? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I can kick it off. So I've been at US Express for 17 years. I started off as a driver recruiter. I've been in operations. I've been in the training department, a little bit of time in HR, and then safety for the last really three and a half years. I've had the opportunity to work with David, though, for that entire time frame. Fun fact, David is probably my earliest memory of US Express. Not too long after I started as a recruiter, he had a video that he shared with driver-facing employees just to underscore the importance of safety and everything that we do. And I remember that video to this day. Helps inform a lot of the decisions that I make on a daily basis. So it's been awesome to work with David for so long.
Love it.
Yeah, and I remember rolling that TV into the conference rooms to show everybody the videos on that. But so I've been with US Express for 22 years. I started here as a student driver and ran team after upgrade, and then I came into work in the safety department in 2005. So I've been in the safety department the entire time, except for the stint driving. I actually started in 1985 in the trucking industry, so 41 years
You've got
in
a little
the
bit
industry.
of experience.
Yeah, been around just a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
And our audience may recognize David as Mr. Safety Shorts himself.
Yes.
So
Yes, we've got two celebrities on here. You probably recognize both of them from some recent safety videos that we do. But yes, again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today. I'm excited to talk about Netradyne. So let's just dive right in.
sounds good.
So first, let's kind of start with like the bigger picture, right? So like, why are cams so important in the trucking industry?
Yeah, I think really if you look over the last decade, cams have become a standard for most carriers and even a lot of independent contractors and owner-operators for really two big reasons. One is the ability to coach and provide feedback to your drivers and help them with things that could be risky. But two, it also helps with risk mitigation in the event of an accident. I think statistically, like 80% of accidents that happen out on the road are not the fault of a truck driver. It's the other vehicle cutting them off, doing something they shouldn't be that creates that accident, and that can provide you with video evidence to be able to say, hey, my driver did the right thing, or we were following the rules of the road. So definitely a lot of benefit to those, and you'd be hard pressed to find a carrier or a driver that does not have some form of dash cam in their truck.
Gotcha.
yeah, and to add to that too, from my side, when we're looking at accidents and we're looking at preventability determinations, back prior to having cams, we would look at it and it was kind of a hit or miss. If the police report didn't give us enough information or we didn't have a witness statement in there to help us, sometimes we may have ruled an accident as a preventable and, facts could have been different. Now with the event recorders, we're able to actually go in and review video of it and help make those determinations easier.
Sure.
More often than not, it protects the driver in that scenario.
Sure. Yeah, that's really important. I think it's interesting to me, I have a little over 2 years of experience in the trucking industry, but I think, kind of going from where we were with cams and seeing like as the technology evolves, so do the tools that help drivers stay safe on the road. So I kind of want to get into the specifics of Netradyne, like what makes it different from, just other options that are available. What makes it stand out?
Yeah, I think when I look at it, when you talk about a conventional cam or an event recorder, they're typically trigger based. They've got a gyroscope built into the camera, hard braking, sudden lane change, things that you could correlate to a bad driving behavior or what trigger those events. Not necessarily bad, but it triggers problems. So in most cases, you're getting a very limited snapshot 8 to 12 seconds of something that went wrong that might need to be coached. So inherently, you're missing the bigger picture of that driver's performance. So I think that that's probably one of the things that has been a limiting factor and kind of created maybe some ill will from some of the driver base towards cams in general, because it feels like they're always hearing what they do wrong and they don't get any credit for what they do well. And I think that that's been the standard in the industry for quite some time. That's changing with the, new technology, AI, being able to review those and provide insights on full length driving. But that has been kind of the norm within the industry, I'd say, for the last 10 years. And David, I know you've been around longer than I have. So if you've got any thoughts on that, I would love to hear it.
Well, I just think about looking at the technology that's on it, with the Netradyne camera now, the opportunity to really credit a driver or praise him for a job well done, because, currently they might do good things, but we had to go find them.
Sure.
And this way it'll actually call it out and give that driver that recognition, which will help give them a little more peace of mind of okay, it's not Big Brother that's watching out after me all the time.
It recognizes when I do a good job.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So I heard that you guys might have tested out a Netradyne camera in your personal vehicles. How was that? How did that go?
It was a lot of fun. It was interesting to, one of the things that when we started kind of this journey of do we modernize our technology, we wanted to make sure we had a firsthand experience. We understood what the driver would be interacting with. So it was interesting. I had one in my personal truck. I think David did as well. And it was an eye-opening experience, right? Like, I thought I was a pretty safe driver. I do a lot of the right things, but I also had some things to work on. So it was eye-opening in that regard. We also had some fun with it, though. I can tell you that we, many mornings, would jump into the Netradyne portal and see who had the most events the previous day. We're not competitive at all.
Oh, right. I was going to say, that's no competition there. Okay.
But I do think, my commute's pretty long. I drive different types of road to and from the office, some highways, some congested areas, and it takes a lot of work. I think that was one of the biggest things. It takes a lot of work to be a safe driver. You have to constantly be on guard. You have to constantly manage your space. Netradyne helped me see ways that I could do that. I thought it was a great experience. We definitely had a little fun at each other's expense along the way as we vetted that out, but it's a cool piece of technology.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it really gives you the opportunity to experience what a driver goes through and see how difficult their job is out there every day. I mean, with the congestion of traffic, people cutting you off and the different things like that, it is a tough job. And this helped us recognize it. Yes, I drove 20 plus years ago, but getting back into it with that gave me the opportunity to change some behavior as well.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's really important that you guys tested it out yourselves. You're not just like, hey, we're going to put these cameras in your truck, hope they work out. You guys firsthand tested it and you guys seem to love it. And I think this is exciting. I think other people are excited for our Netradyne cameras, but of course, with some excitement, there's some questions, right? People are a little bit hesitant. What are the details, right? So let's maybe go over some frequently asked questions that we've gotten. I'll ask the question and then you guys give me the answer.
Sounds good.
So is US Xpress installing driver-facing cameras inside the cab?
No. We are not. It's a little bit different than our previous provider. So it does have 4 camera lenses on the unit. 3 of those face outward. We'll only be using the 3 outward facing cameras. What that does is that gives us a better forward view, 270 degrees. And we can just pick up more of what's going on the road around the truck. That helps protect our driver. We can see vehicles in blind spots that make sudden lane changes and hit us. That gives us an opportunity to have more data to be able to look at analytics on, what type of safety equipment do we need to spec on the trucks in the future. So it's very different than our current system, but there's still not going to be any inward facing lens towards our driver.
And with that too, we've been testing this on about 80 trucks now. Okay. So there's a good pool of drivers that have already experienced it and they understand that, no, we're not looking inside the cab at them. Okay. So.
Good to know. Wonderful. Second question, and you touched on this just a little bit earlier. I heard this camera uses AI. Does that mean I'm being observed by AI the entire time I'm in my truck?
It's a really good question, and I think it's important to understand kind of the distinction there. So the great thing about Netradyne is it uses edge AI computing. So the AI is on the device. It doesn't have any kind of delays bouncing up to a cloud for compute. It's done there in real time. So that allows us to see the good, the bad, the things that we need to have opportunities to improve with. But it also gives us an opportunity, like David talked about earlier, to really zero in on what drivers do well and give them credit for the hard work that they do every single day.
Yes.
So it's a very good piece of technology. I think that it's going to help us, recognize great drivers and also give people an opportunity to make improvements where needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that too, and that immediate gratification to the driver, the system is recognizing you did a good job of backing off when somebody cut you off or moving over for a vehicle on the shoulder of the road. And it gives them that notification immediately where, currently that video's got to go up to the cloud. We'd have to look at it and then we would have to have that conversation. They're getting that notification. And that's, the AI technology has helped that to come about.
That's awesome. Very cool. I think that's exciting. I would love to be celebrated every time I did something good. So that's exciting. Question 3. How does Netradyne and US Xpress ensure the footage captured in my truck is secured?
It's a good question. David, you want to take that one?
Well, we have it pretty well locked down on who has access to videos. So, the safety department folks or risk management folks, and then the driver leaders will have access to go in and see those videos. They don't have the access to download it. That's restricted as well. So you don't have to worry about it if an event happens that somebody's out there poaching that video and wanting to post it on social media or anything like that. So, there is a group of people that will have access to view it. We can't log into the computer and watch you or anything like that. It's all going to be based on the
secured lockdown. Yeah, to certain groups of people.
Correct.
Okay, so these aren't necessarily questions. They're more of myths that we've been hearing about the camera. So I'll state the myth and then you guys give me the reality. The system is designed strictly to catch you making mistakes and get you fired.
I would say absolutely not. That's one of the reasons why we chose Netradyne after looking at multiple vendors. It's because they do such a good job of recognizing the good that a driver does and incorporating that into their score. So they have what's called the green zone score, starts at 1,000. And really the goal is to stay above an 850, and that keeps you in that green zone. And that's based on a combination of coachable events, things that, opportunities for improvement, but also the things drivers do well every day. So I would say it's completely the opposite. The goal is improvement, definitely not to be after a driver's job.
Sure.
Well, and one of the pieces of this too is it will give that driver the alert and give them the opportunity to change a behavior before it ever triggers an event to come to us.
Gotcha.
So, if you're following close and it alerts you to that and you back off, it's not going to trigger an event.
Okay.
So it gives that driver the opportunity to self-correct.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think too, there's opportunity through the Driver Eye app to self-coach as well.
Okay.
So that provides a lot of engagement. We gamify, it's gamified so that way you can see where you stack rank against other drivers in your fleet. It really brings more control to the driver on what their journey looks like with their carrier, whether, for us, for US Xpress, and helps them take control of that path.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This is the last one. Another myth. You are punished for missing stop signs or speeding in confusing controlled zones.
I can jump in on this one to start. So that is where I think the AI-powered device with Netradyne really shines, is it's able to understand complex intersections. It's not as prone to pick up maybe the speed limit on a frontage road next to the interstate or multiple signs in a roundabout. It's able to determine what is what and what actually applies to the driver. No system is perfect. Occasionally it's going to make mistakes, but it does a much better job than most of its competitors.
You can kind of see the surroundings of what's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think about some of the construction zones, how they move the lanes back and forth, and you see okay, is this the lane marker now or not? Because it's so confusing. And, we'll still have the opportunity if an event comes through and, it's not right, we can get that removed. And so we still have the opportunity to be the final say.
Sure. Okay. Good to know. Well, I think that was super helpful. I learned a lot from that. I hope you guys did too. As we kind of near the end of our episode, I have one last question for you guys. Maybe a fun question. Hopefully not too competitive between you guys. So we were talking earlier about how you guys had the Netradyne cameras in your personal vehicles. Who had the better Netradyne score between you guys?
I guess it depends on what day.
Definitely. At the start, mine was not great. I was in the green zone, but just barely. I managed to end at 1,000 for that final couple weeks of having it in the truck. David, where did you end?
I was up there right around that. I did not get any additional points to get me over the 1,000. Okay. Now, to be fair to Daniel, he's got long stretches of road to drive on. I kind of come through more of city top roads, so less opportunity for me to mess up there.
Sure.
That's what I'm going to say anyway. So.
Got it. I love it. Well, do you guys have anything else to add? Anything, if there was one takeaway you wanted a driver to know about these new Netradyne cameras, what would it be?
Yeah, I think from my vantage point, really the takeaway that I would have for our drivers or potential drivers for US Xpress is, we're investing in this technology for you. We want to make sure that we give you the tools you need to be safe out on the road and make you a successful driver, so you can build a long and, successful career in the trucking industry. This is part of that investment and that two-way conversation. So we can have dialogue around things that you do really well and maybe some opportunities for you to continue to grow as a professional.
Sure.
Yeah, and I just really like the fact that it gives that driver the opportunity to self-correct if they're, and we understand things are going to happen out there.
Right.
But, if it's bringing it to their attention and they don't repeat that behavior, it's a win for us all.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today and talk about Netradyne. This is really exciting. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Stay tuned for our new episodes. I would encourage you guys, if you have a certain topic or idea that you want to hear David and Daniel talk about or others, drop it in the comments or email us at usxcommunications@usxpress.com. You can also follow us on social media. And thank you guys again for joining, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Thanks for having us, Brenna. This was a lot of fun.
I appreciate it.